Hey, I'm Marc Loftus. Thanks for joining us for another edition of Post TV. Today I'm joined by Phil Lowrey of Boxx, who's going to tell us a little bit about the company and some of the workstations and rendering solutions that they have. Phil, thanks for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So obviously Boxx, we're familiar with the company. You guys have a broad portfolio of workstations for 3D, for editing, rendering solutions. You're working with lots of different partners there for top of the line solutions. What's some of the latest news you have? I know you mentioned maybe RenderBoxx is something we could focus on.
Right, well, RenderBoxx is kind of a unique, it's a unique rack-mounted server that has up to 4 different dual-core nodule for Xeon. So you can have a whole lot of cores in a very small form factor. Each one of those nodes can each have dual Xeons. So what, 8 processors in I think it's a 2U chassis. So your density for cores is pretty high with this particular device. And it's air-cooled, meant for the data center. We can put Intel's newest and greatest Xeon Gold processors in there. Whatever kind of rendering you need, offloading, batch rendering, that's kind of what it's designed for.
Would this service multiple workstations that are in a creative suite or creative like galley in that case, all going to one render farm?
Well, absolutely. That's the nice part about it. Each 4 of these nodes can be configured individually. You can have batch render something like OTOY, the V-Ray, whatever. They could do. You offload your batch rendering and put them as the slave node on the particular rendering that you're doing. So yeah, you can have multiple workstations hitting it at the same time. I'm not sure. I know there's some kinds of software out there, the name escapes me at the top of my head, where you can actually assign resources per batch. So you've got this giant repository of cores that you can use.
What's a typical facility that would employ one of these? What type of work would they be doing? Is it visual effects? Is it 3D? Is it corporate type work? Where would it fit in?
Well, wherever you have to do with large renders, I mean, the nice thing about rendering is it doesn't really, there's not one specific workload that you can do. I know media and entertainment is the obvious choice because they have a lot of rendered frames with the visual effects that they do. Architecture and engineering also does a lot of rendering with their wireframe models and their building architectural designs, even manufacturing product design when you're modeling products and you want to show it off and do really nice renders. So mostly this type of solution, though, would be probably towards your studio type environment where it's doing lots of rendering, lots of frames, lots of visual effects artists that all have to offload their rendering so they can do the work on their local workstation. But in the back end, it's just getting rendered because that's typically what takes most of the time.
Is there scalability to it, or is it a fixed configuration? How would you scale it based on the work that you're doing?
Interestingly enough, it's got 4 different nodules. You don't have to populate all 4 at once.
Okay.
So depending on whatever your budget is, you can get 1, you can get 2, you can get all 4. 2U racks, so if you've got rack space, you can just keep adding more and more to it. That's the really nice part. It's not just a one-can solution. And even say you buy a nodule that has like a Xeon Silver or something, a dual of those, and you need more cores, so you upgrade it to the gold. You can do that too. So there's a lot of different flexibility for it.
You guys are using Intel technology. Is there a reason why you prefer that in an application or a solution such as this?
Quite honestly, there's really no preference from us. We go with what the customer wants. It's a designed, tried and true system that's been on the market for many years for us. We have the cooling solution very well dialed in. We work very closely with Intel as with all of our partners. This particular solution was developed, oh my gosh, I don't even know the number of years ago, but it was one of our first products for media and entertainment when we were breaking in. So.
If a studio wanted a solution like this, would they talk to you directly about what they're doing and you would configure it accordingly? It's not a off-the-shelf type of solution.
No, of course not. I mean, a lot of it depends on budget, rack space, power requirements, cooling, all of that stuff. We try to understand what the customer's workflow is a lot better, and then we can design and tailor a solution that meets their needs without breaking the budget.
Gotcha. How would our readers or viewers get in touch with you guys, either through social media or your website? Do you want to direct them to your site?
Sure. Our main website is www.boxx.com. We have a lot of social media presence on Facebook. We have Twitter. LinkedIn is another good place. You can actually online chat on our website with our sales associates, a solution specialist. They can go on and they'll ask them questions right there real time. So you can get as much information. We've got spec sheets, all kinds of different resources available from the website.
Very cool. We want to thank you, Phil, for taking some time to speak with our audience here on Post TV, and let's stay in touch in the future as well.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Thanks.